Hey, I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and I finally am! In this video, I'll be telling you why weekly Shonen Jump series seem to be getting shorter and shorter. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. As of late, it seems like authors of seemingly very popular series decide to cut their series short. A very popular series which did this exact thing is Marshall. It was very popular, but the author, Hajime Koto, decided to end the series after just 162 chapters. When compared to other, less popular series, like Me and Roboko, which is 235 chapters long, it might seem so weird, because why would a popular series end after just 162 chapters, but Me and Roboko, which is almost 100 chapters longer, is still ongoing? At first, I was confused too, but the more I researched, the more I realized this is a good thing. Let's use... Marshall again. And... oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh's author has stated many times that he wanted to end the story sooner. And he didn't even envision Yu-Gi playing just card games, but he envisioned him playing just games in general. But because Yu-Gi-Oh! Immediately became a hit, fans kept asking for just more and more card games. And with the fucking huge anime and just a in real life card game, the author wasn't allowed to end the series. As well as the editorial department telling him to make the main focus of the series Duel Monsters. That made the author kind of upset because he wanted to do a specific arc, but it kept being pushed back because it was an arc that would pretty much end the series. There would pretty much be only one more duel after it. And it was still very popular at the time. The fact that the anime was also being aired at the time and was super popular did not help his case. Though, as the series started to decline, the author was finally allowed to end the series. While Marshall didn't have nearly as good ratings as Yu-Gi-Oh!, it was still very popular, and a lot of people did like it, but it still ended really quickly, especially compared to Yu-Gi-Oh! While Marshall was still popular and the quite successful anime had just started. The anime, or just the series in general, wasn't nearly as popular as Yu-Gi-Oh! It was still very popular and read/watched. So, do you know why Marshall was allowed to end so soon compared to Yu-Gi-Oh!, which his author said many times that he wanted to end it much sooner? It's mainly because of the time period they were serialized in. Yu-Gi-Oh! Started in the fall of 1996 and ended in the spring of 2004, while Marshall started in the winter of 2020 and ended in the summer of 2023. Back in 1996, Weekly Shonen Jump was in a much more unstable position than it is now, money-wise. Back then, while Weekly Shonen Jump did have a few huge hits by then, they weren't enough to just let another potentially huge series to just end when the author wanted. It wasn't necessarily with ill intention, because with Yu-Gi-Oh's success, they could fund more series that could potentially be huge and in the future let more series as authors end the series when they wanted to, which did end up happening. But when Yu-Gi-Oh was starting its serialization, Weekly Shonen Jump only had a couple huge hits. You could probably count them on your hands. Let's see. There was Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, Slam Dunk, Rurouni Kenshin also started to get popular right around then, Captain Tsubasa, Fist of the North Star, Kinnikuman, Saint Seiya, Dr. Slump, Roku Denashi Blues. Honestly, the last few were already a lot less popular than the aforementioned, but still, those are the biggest series in Weekly Shonen Jump before Yu-Gi-Oh! It is a decent amount, but for Marshall, there is so much more. I mean, all the series I just mentioned for Yu-Gi-Oh! And including Yu-Gi-Oh!, all the big three including a still ongoing One Piece, iShield 21, Haikyuu, Bakuman, Toriko, Gintama, Assassination Classroom, Kuroko's Basketball, Death Note... Actually, you probably already get the point. Weekly Shonen Jump is in a much better place to let the already very popular series end when the author sees fit and not stretch them out to squeeze as much money as possible out of the series. There have been many series which were forced to be serialized even after the author wanted to end it. There were also series that both felt dragged on and rushed. But before that, I want to mention some of the series that you might not have known that were dragged on. Not including Yu-Gi-Oh! Because... well. First is the first really smash hit for Weekly Shonen Jump, Dragon Ball. From all the series that I'll mention, this one makes the most sense. At the time, while Weekly Shonen Jump at that point had some pretty big hits, mainly Fist of the North Star, Kinnikuman, and Dr. Slump. The last one was written by the same author as Dragon Ball, by the way. But this was the first really big series for Weekly Shonen Jump. And, actually understandably, they didn't want to let it go so soon. It went on for so long that it is the 7th longest Weekly Shonen Jump manga to date. Akira Toriyama stated that he wanted to end the manga after the Frieza arc, which ended on chapter 107. And just the original Dragon Ball manga lasted 520 chapters. He also wanted to end the series after the Cell arc, but his editor kept telling him to continue the series. Oh, an interesting one. Rurouni Kenshin. The author said that he wanted to end the series at the Kyoto arc, which ended on chapter 151. But his editor suggested for him to continue the story with one final arc, the Jinchu arc, which lasted just over 100 chapters. There are two series that I see as a bit different than the previously mentioned. First is Toriko. The author mentioned in the final volume's notes that they felt that it was a bit unfair that they had to extend many arcs because it was very popular. But they had to rush the ending because its popularity was declining. While the authors of the other series haven't said anything like that, I felt that in Bakuman, a very similar thing happened. Let me get this clear. I'm a huge fan of Bakuman. It's definitely in my top 5 or even top 3 mangas of all time. But I felt a certain arc. Click here to avoid spoilers. Specifically, the second Nanamin arc was completely unnecessary, and the ending arc was really rushed. I mentioned this in another video, but I think that the duo, Takeshi Obata and Tsugumi Opa, had the final arc and everything already planned out. But when it came time to execute it, their editor told them that they couldn't end the series right now because it was very popular. So they had to make another arc to extend the series, which is the second Nanamin arc. I thought it was completely unnecessary to the story. Okay, maybe not that bad, but it didn't feel as important as literally any other arc. Almost like a filler arc. You know, the last arc and the ending felt like they were speedrunning them. In total, the final arc and the ending took 5 chapters. Now that's rush. Despite what the title of the video says, not all new manga are short. I mean, a manga that recently ended is the 8th longest running manga in the history of Weekly Shonen Jump. It was My Hero Academia. It's literally just 5 chapters short of being as long as Dragon Ball. And in the top 20 longest serializations in the history of Weekly Shonen Jump, 2 series are still ongoing. First is, as I'm sure already guessed, One Piece, which is the second longest Weekly Shonen Jump manga of all time. It is about 800 chapters shorter than Kochikame. And the other work in the top 20 is Hunter x Hunter, but it might as well be finished because of how long the hiatuses are. If you count the top 50, then you can add Mi and Roboko to that list. But from the 3 series I just mentioned, only Mi and Roboko could really be classified as new gen, as Hunter x Hunter started all the way back in 1998, and One Piece started a year before in 1997, while Mi and Roboko started in the middle of 2020. And even with it not having taken a single break, it is still in just the top 50. But if it continues to not having taken a break for another year, it will be nearly as long as Shaman King, which sits at 29th place. But yes, generally, series are getting shorter and shorter, but that doesn't mean series are short. I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen, it ended less than a year ago, and it is still the 34th longest manga in Weekly Shonen Jump. Or on that unlock, it ended earlier this year, even with it having an extremely rushed ending. It still ended up being the 45th longest series in Weekly Shonen Jump. I could name so many series that are really long that are considered new gen, like Haikyuu and Black Clover. Haikyuu ended up being the 13th longest series in Weekly Shonen Jump, and before Black Clover transferred in Weekly Shonen Jump, it has the 17th longest Weekly Shonen Jump manga spot. The issue is that everyone is comparing to the late 1990s and early 2000s Weekly Shonen Jump manga. One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, Hunter x Hunter, and so many more. This period in time is what I like to call the golden age of Weekly Shonen Jump. It was when so many of the amazing manga you love come from, and coincidentally have the longest series. But it wasn't because the authors wanted to have their series that long. For example, Naruto. Kishimoto once said that he only planned for Naruto to be 15 volumes long, but because of how popular it was, he wasn't allowed to end it, and Naruto ended up being 72 volumes long. Or Bleach. It was supposed to serialize for 5 years, with it ending when the Soul Society arc ended with a planned grand total of 20 to 30 volumes. But with the huge success of the anime, amazing ratings in the Soul Society arc, his editor and the editorial department didn't allow him to end the series. In the early plans of the series, because it was planned to end at the Soul Society arc, none of the Hueco Mundo, Arrancar arc, or etc. weren't planned. And with that, the biggest plot armor was written in the series because of Kubo's inability to end the series. It's more like they were forced by the Weekly Shonen Jump editorial department. In fact, it's not that the series are getting shorter, it's that a lot of series in the late 1990s or early 2000s were super long. Before the golden age of Weekly Shonen Jump, most series were pretty much as long or maybe a bit shorter than some of the series serializing right now. But now that the golden age is past, Weekly Shonen Jump has a lot more money to fund more and different series and let the popular series' authors end the series when they see fit. Like if it were the early 2000s and Jujutsu Kaisen was as popular then as it was towards the ending of the serialization, then there would be no way that it would be allowed to end, and it would probably be serializing for quite a lot longer. So, wait, let me just... Here, before the golden age, the average series' length was about as long as a series' length today, with the 2000s being just fucking long. Alright, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll be honest with you, I deleted a huge segment from this video because the video would have been 30 minutes long. If you want to see me talk about what I deleted in this video in a separate video, I'll do it. Just let me know down in the comments below, and if enough people want it, I'll make a video about it. But once again, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. See ya!